Hello, welcome to the Real Estate Podcast. This is the Parenting on Fridays edition, April the 10th, 2020. Today we're going to talk about loving your family. Stay tuned. If there was ever a time that we needed to put in special effort to make sure that our family members know that we care, this is it. This is the time. With so much going on in the world today, not just this country, in the world, we need to be very aware about our surroundings and what we're actually dealing with. And this is a great time for you to remind those people that are closest to you that you care about them, that you love them. There's nothing wrong. It's not mushy. It's important because you want them to know that you care, and you don't want people to assume that you don't. So when you have that opportunity, make a special effort to let people know when you see them or talk to them. Let them know how much you care. It's very important that you do that. God requires us to tell those around us how much they're loved. And he wants to show his love through you to them. So make sure you make the effort to do the work, which is letting people know how much you care about them. In Proverbs 1:8, it says, "Hear, my son, your father's instructions, and forsake not your mother's teaching." For one, as a parent, you've got to realize that your children are not going to always follow your directions. They're not going to always follow your counsel or instructions. It just does not work like that. But when they do, you can remind them of the benefit that they receive from following your instructions, especially when you're giving them sound quality advice. When you're telling them to really follow the Lord, or to not follow their gut, but to find out from God what they should do. When you're giving them sound doctrine, and they follow it and they see the results from it, there's a big chance that they can continue to follow those patterns in their life, as opposed to going on their own volition, their own mind, thoughts, and abilities, thinking they can figure everything out themselves. As parents, a lot of times we have been there and done that, and we're trying to alleviate our children going through the same process. And I know some children need to hit that wall, or they need a little extra bump on the head sometimes to get an understanding that, hey, your parents are not trying to hold you back. They're actually trying to catapult you forward so that you can go over and around things that are not necessary for you in your life. And some children just need that extra bump because they're not listening. But here in Proverbs 1:8, it says, follow your father's instructions and don't forsake your mother's teaching. In other words, it's going to help you get further in life quicker. You'll make better decisions as a child by listening to good and wise counsel. As a parent, you have to make sure you give that wise counsel, regardless of what is going on in your mind. You have to always pass along good counsel to your kids. As much as is in you, the ability you have to at least try to do what's right in front of your children. You want them to see a good example. Be that good example. They're going to see all types of examples, but help them to see one from you that will be good and positive and encouraging to know that that's my father or that's my mother. Give them something to be proud of by living a godly life and living a life without drama as much as you possibly can. That will give them a better foundation to stand on. Doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. It just means that they see how hard you try to do what's right. In 1 Corinthians 13, the whole chapter is about love. But I want to point out a few sections that I think are very important. In verse 8, it says, love never fails, but if there are gifts of prophecy, they will be done away. If there are tongues, they will cease. If there is knowledge, it will be done away. So love never fails. All these other things are going to go away, but love remains. And you need to make sure that your kids see that type of love in their life. They need to see agape love. They need to see how God loves them through you. Now, you have to love yourself so you can effectively love them, and you have to try your best to do what's right as a parent at all times so that you give them a foundation and something to stand on. Love will never fail, and if you trust God, you know that He loves you. He'll help you keep your stance. He'll help you have a foundation to pass on to your kids. It also says, if you skip down, when I was a child, I used to speak like a child, think like a child, reason like a child. When I became a man, I did away with childish things. You have to become mature. You have to show maturity in everything that you do so that your children have that foundation. You can't be immature and raise children. It just doesn't work. The last one, but now faith, hope, love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. You have the power to show your child how great it is to love God and how great it is to be loved by God. When you show them that, you give them something to stand on it just goes above and beyond all that they'll ever deal with in their life. I hope you got something out of this today. Be blessed, grace and peace.